Okay, Christina here to listen to some music. And today's music selection is Barracuda by Heart. So this band started in 1973. Apparently they're from Seattle. That's pretty cool. 20 years, the predecessor of grunge. Not saying they're grunge, just saying nice little musical tradition there in Seattle. And that they have a female lead singer. And we haven't had too many female artists on the channel yet, so I'm really happy to have this one here. The song Barracuda that we're listening to today came out in 1977. So definitely 70s band, 70s era. However, I know that they were also in the 80s because in the late 80s, again, the popular music that I listened to was late 80s, early 90s. That's kind of the era that I got into. But I don't know much about stuff before that or after that. So in the late 80s, I remember hearing on the radio at least one song by the band Heart. I think it's called Alone, and it's a beautiful song. And I think there was at least one other, but I don't remember the name. I'm sure I would know it if I heard it. I mean, you can't miss some of those 80s songs. They were playing on the radio all the time. But this definitely is a band that I never really paid much attention to, didn't really take a closer look. And so now it's time. I've been hearing a lot of good things about this band from all of you. I'm guessing it's not progressive rock so much as maybe more hard rock. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. Feel free to chime in the comments. And again, we're all here on this channel, hopefully where I can learn a little something, and maybe so can all of you. I am a professional classically trained musician, professor, instrumentalist, vocalist, and composer. So we talk about a whole bunch of stuff when it comes to this music. And we're having fun on this channel. Don't forget to support all the work here. You can do that by leaving comments, or you can like and subscribe, become a member over on Patreon, or a channel member here on YouTube, or support the channel on Ko-fi. Lots of ways to take part, or just be a viewer. Everything is appreciated. Okay, so enough talking. Let's watch. Okay, and so I'm not sure if this is an official video or just a live video. I'm not sure, but it seems kind of official, so we're just going to go with it. All right, here goes.
Barracuda. Back over time, we were all flying for free. You never fought us me. No right, no wrong, selling a song. Whisper game. And if the real thing don't do the trick, you better make up something quick. You gonna burn to the wick. Ooh, Barracuda. Oh, yeah. Sell me, sell you from myself, dive down deep down, sleep behind you. I think that you got the blues too. All that night and all the next one without looking back. Maybe the West silly, silly fools.
Okay, I'm going to stop it. We're getting into some solos. I will go back and we'll listen to the whole solos, I promise. I wanted to stop and just make a few comments and also check the lyrics because I want to know more of what's going on. There's just a lot to take in here. Okay, this is really impressive, first of all. The energy, the aesthetic, it's really authentic. And to me, it seems like it's really unique. So on the channel so far, I have really been able to dive into a lot of things, but one big deep dive was with progressive rock, and it's still continuing on here. This is not necessarily progressive rock, but in my progressive rock journey, I have mentioned how there are a lot of higher register voices. So male lead singers with higher singing voices, like a high tenor, almost a low alto range. And also the usage of some instruments like flutes and guitar solos that really wail really high up there. It's just sort of a common trend that I'm noticing. So this is 1977. It's in the heart, see what I did there, of the progressive rock era and really coming into a hard rock era. And so I see where they sort of gathered their influences, and it may have come together kind of organically, but it works. And it definitely worked back then. And then you put it together with their look, seeing lots of feathers, and I guess today would be like the wolf cut kind of thing. Lots of leather and almost neo-Renaissance clothing, which is kind of cool. I like it. So as far as the instrumentation, it's a classic band setup so far. Drums, keyboards, bass, guitar, vocals. Just like any symphony orchestra, you have the basic instrument groups that you work with to sort of paint your picture. And not everybody is a good painter. This group is talented, and they're able to really put a solid visual together. It's a solid piece of art. So I'm hearing the gallop. I recently reacted to Iron Maiden, the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, and we have the gallop. So I'm hearing that dun 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 dun. It's really exciting, and I believe it was both in the percussion and the bass. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. And then we had some really interesting guitar sounds, like going way up high and doing some sort of wide, warbly vibrato. But then the vocals. Wow, her voice. Her intonation is great, and then her range. So she either can just sing that high in her chest voice, or her head voice is identical to her chest voice, because there's no shift, there's no change when she's singing lower notes to the higher notes, and she can just belt it out. It might have been like a high E or G. That's a soprano range. And she can just belt that out there. And then she's got a really great vibrato with pretty darn good control. It's sort of a wider vibrato, which sometimes you would think you would want a tighter vibrato in such energetic music. But you know what? I'm thinking back to Iron Maiden again, and the vibrato there was also a little bit wider, a little bit slower, more operatic almost, and hers is that way too. And there's, to me, it almost gives it something unexpected and sort of counterintuitive. It almost adds tension that you hear those high wailing notes and then that slower controlled vibrato. Pretty cool. And she might not be making any of those artistic decisions on purpose. It might just be happening organically. I can sing like this, and when I sing like this, it works. And so that's what you do. I also really loved the harmony vocals, and their voices match perfectly. Love it. I don't know, there's just something really special about it. So let's actually take just a quick look at the lyrics. So I'm thinking, Barracuda, it's sort of a derogatory name for someone maybe who's not so nice. So this ain't the end. I saw you again today. I had to turn my heart away. Smiled like the sun, kisses for everyone. Aha. So we're trying to put on a happy face even though we're not feeling so great. Barracuda. I love how she says Barracuda as well. She sort of steps out of the singing mode and like a Sprechstimme, where you say the words instead of singing. Well, I'm not sure who exactly is being talked about or talked to here, but they haven't been behaving very nicely, and It could just be one somebody, or it could be sort of a bunch of somebodies, like in society in general. And that first opening line about basically having to put on a happy face. So, maybe it's a society thing. Okay. Either way, there's a feeling of empowerment here. Whether or not the person she's singing to is actually listening, it seems to be like a solid anthem. Okay, so let's back it up, because I want to hear, it sounds like we're headed into a little bit of a solo section. Oh, and I think we're going to hear some of these great harmonies too again. Well, that was pretty awesome. An anthem indeed. And a lot to unpack, especially musically. So towards the end, I actually was hearing a little prog rock, some of those little sound effects that you can get from the guitars. And I was trying to see how many guitars do they actually have up there. A couple of them. And they were like, turning the little buttons and just lots of little noises in the background. And then I was really also trying to listen to the drummer and the bass line, but honestly, they were so busy, just full of notes, that it was hard to keep track. But that was kind of the idea, is to sort of make it fly by you, that you just don't even notice, that you only get the feel of it. And the guitar solo that we came upon was pretty brief, but it was really well planned. To me, was a great compliment to her singing. I mean, it was way, way, way up there at the end of the fingerboard. Even some of the vibrato style was carried over in that. And then there were just a couple of noodly notes. It was really, really, it was impressive and kept the energy. Sometimes when instruments get handed solo moments, there's a lot of pressure there, and you got to keep the energy, the momentum going. And the guitarist was sort of playing longer lyrical notes. He could have easily let go of some of that momentum, but that's not at all what happened. It really zoomed on through. So again, some of those notes, let's go back and hear what some of those highest notes were. So, F sharp. That high note, at least right there, was an F sharp. That's the top line of the treble clef. That's definitely in soprano range. That's almost a little bit high. That's the high end for second sopranos. Definitely right in there for the high notes for first sopranos. They can usually get up to a B. Her voice is really amazing. The energy is really amazing. Okay, I want to go back also and hear again some of that harmony because it was perfect. Perfect harmony. Give some credit to the backup vocalist. Perfect. Perfect. The way the diction tapered off, the way they said the words, a little bit of the vibrato. It was just perfect harmony. Let's hear some of the guitar solo now. Way up there in the stratosphere, way up at the end of the fingerboard. See the longer notes? Way up there. A little bit of the faster notes. Excellent. So I am noticing that the video that's here is not quite matching up with the audio. I'm wondering if the audio is the studio version and then they're just putting a live version with it. That doesn't bother me. It's so close. And a live version is not necessarily going to be exactly, you don't want it to be. You want them to be artistic and to be free to do what they feel like they need to do in the moment on stage. But there's enough similarity here that you can see what it is and what they're doing. You can imagine what it actually sounded like there. But I probably should listen to some actual live recordings of this band. That'll probably be a future reaction and analysis here on the channel. All right, I just want to go back to the beginning just quickly because I want to see more of her energy again and just soak it up just a little bit more. Plus that gallop is really fun right at the beginning where it starts out. Yeah, so it is both in the percussion and in the guitar. And when she's singing more quietly, it's so gentle. It's so delicate. It's almost like her head voice is down here and her chest voice is up here. It's amazing. What a talent. The gallop started in the guitar and then the drum picked it up, and after just a few beats, it started up with the gallop. You could hear it in both. But I think it was more pronounced in the guitar and just kind of smoothed over, just like a little bit of a boost from the percussion part of it. And that kind of balance where you're layering instruments on top of one another, that's instrumentation. That's part of composition. When you get that balance just right, you've got a good group of musicians working together here. I also really like the beat of the song. So right towards the end, at least, I think it was kind of here and there throughout the whole thing, there was a definite 7/4 pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they did it enough where it was really dependable and you could actually kind of it didn't necessarily take you by surprise and make you uncomfortable. It wasn't necessarily meant to do that. It was just the beat that exists and you can follow along. Let's see if we can find that. Oh, and here's some of those prog rock sounds. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the ending. Okay, that was Heart. It was exciting. It was very well put together. Still not sure how much prog or hard rock it might be, but it doesn't always need to be categorized. Classical musicians are always trying to categorize different types of music. It helps keep all of music history a little bit organized. It really does. And that is kind of ultimately what I'm trying to do here, is realize what all of these genres and subgenres are and where they fit in and how they evolved. It is exactly the same as learning about classical music history. So I'm just expanding my knowledge into today's music. Well, this is kind of yesterday's music, but you get what I mean. So this basically is just a good old rock out kind of song. It does seem very much like an anthem. I love her power that she has. She commands the stage. And she has an excellent band there. It's not all about the lead singer. The band as a whole is really, really fantastic. And so the song that I know, the one Alone, is it How Do I Get You Alone? I think that's the song. I heard it all the time on the radio in the 80s, like late 80s. But again, I was still kind of too young to really let that soak in. And I never went out and bought their tape or the CD or anything. So this is really my first dive into the music of Heart. And so far, I really am enjoying this. So thank you to everyone who recommended them. I'm sure there'll be polls out there pretty soon about what I should listen to next. I think there's a certain cover that they did of somebody else that it's been recommended a whole lot. I'll have to go back and make sure what that is, but I definitely want to catch that. It was more recent. But I need to hear more Heart, especially the 70s stuff, because I've heard that 80s sound. I want to get to know them in their early years and then see how they have evolved. But yeah, this is going on my playlist for sure, and I can't wait for more. All right, so be sure to help support the channel however you can, even just by watching. Thank you, viewers. Thank you. But if you want to like and or subscribe, get the notification bell, I think, and you can see more alerts. Become a channel member on YouTube. You get behind the scenes. You get to vote in some polls, exclusive content, and then the same over on Patreon. Over there you also get to do direct requests, and then you can also make direct requests and support the channel on Ko-fi. And I don't know, we're just having a great time here, so we'd love to have you join us in this great music community that we are creating here. Can't do it without you. Okay, and as always, just remember that you don't have to be perfect. Just be okay. And keep listening.